Alright. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom po sa ating lahat and welcome po sa Old Pat's Torah Assembly. And tayo po'y magsisimula na while waiting for others. And as always, we will start with Wisdom of Solomon. But before that, just to remind everyone, today marks the 6th Shabbat of the Feast of Weeks. So next week, it's already Shavuot. All right, so I hope we're getting ready for that Feast of Shavuot, or otherwise called the Feast of Pentecost, as you can read in Acts chapter 2. And yes, naka-anim na linggo na po tayo in the Feast of Weeks. Okay, so let's start reading Wisdom of Solomon. And wala pa po yung aawit ng Sabbath songs. So, did I share the link to the group? I did, right? I did, yeah. Okay, Wisdom of Solomon. This is the last chapter of Wisdom of Solomon. It says here, but the ungodly were assailed to the end by pitiless anger, for Elohim knew in advance even their future actions, that though they themselves had permitted thy people to depart and hastily sent them forth, they would change their minds and pursue them. For while they were still busy at mourning, and were lamenting at the graves of their dead, they reached another foolish decision, and pursued as fugitives those whom they had begged and compelled to depart. For the fate they deserved drew them on to this end, and made them forget what had happened, in order that they might fill up the punishment which their torments still lacked, and that thy people might experience an incredible journey, but they themselves might meet a strange death. For the whole creation in its nature was fashioned anew, complying with thy commands, and that thy children might be kept unharmed. The cloud was seen overshadowing the camp, and dry land emerging where water had stood before, an unhindered way out of the Red Sea, and a grassy plain out of the raging waves, where those protected by thy hand passed through as one nation after gazing on marvelous wonders. For they ranged like horses and leaped like lambs, praising thee, O Yahweh, didst deliver them. For they still recall the event of their sojourn, how instead of producing animals, the earth brought forth gnats, and instead of fish, the river spewed out vast number of frogs. Afterward, they saw also a new kind of birds, when desire led them to ask for luxurious food. For to give them relief, quails came up from the sea. The punishments did not come upon the sinners without prior signs in the violence of thunder, for they justly suffered because of their wicked acts, for they practiced a more bitter hatred of strangers. Others had refused to receive strangers when they came to them, but these made slaves of guests who were their benefactors. And not also so, but punishment of some sort will come upon the former of their hostile reception of the aliens. But the latter, after receiving them with festal celebrations, afflicted with terrible sufferings those who had already shared the same rights. They were stricken also with loss of sight, just as were those at the door of the righteous man, when surrounded by yawning darkness, each tried to find a way through his own door. For the elements change places with one another, as on a harp the notes vary the nature of the rhythm, while each note remains the same. This may be clearly inferred from the sight of what took place. For land animals were transformed into water creatures, and creatures that swim moved over to the land. Fire, even in water, retained its normal power, and water forgot its fire-quenching nature. Flames, on the contrary, failed to consume the flesh of perishable creatures that walked among them, nor did they melt the crystalline, easily melted kind of heavenly food. For in everything, O Yahweh, thou hast exalted and glorified thy people, and thou hast not neglected to help them at all times and in all places. So if you notice, it was more of describing the plagues and the crossing of the Red Sea. And apparently there are some things that we do not know, or probably stories that Solomon had written in this account, and it's very interesting yung last part, especially verses 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay? So,
Hindi daw makapasok sila man.
oh really? I don't know why. I don't see them.
Your host in another meeting now.
Oh really? I'm in another meeting. Okay. let me stop the share. Why am I in another meeting? Hold on. I'll go again.